Hi, how's everyone? This is the fourth installment of Investor Psychology. I'm Christian Chua, broadcasting from sunny Singapore with just like one little dot. If you do not know where we are, please look up anyway. We are on the southernmost point of Asia. I'm not from China. Earlier days, everyone think that Singapore is from China. In fact, when I was traveling in where did I go? I was in America, yeah, and then they asked me to fill up my country, and I put Singapore. He said, Singapore what? I said Singapore Republic of, and they said no. Is it like Singapore China, Singapore Russia, what? And I said Singapore Republic of. Then they said no, you don't understand me. What is your main country? I said Russia. Okay, anyway, so we are a small republic, and we are. Do visit us when the opportunity arises. Today we have 3 more tips for you. When I say we, I mean me. So tip number 10, always have a ranking on your stocks. Say you have 10 stocks. Could you just rank them, which are your top 3 favorite stocks and which are your 2 or 3 that you think is getting a bit shaky and a bit wonky and you may want to cut. I'm saying that because when the time comes to add on, you know which one is your running horse. You see, a lot of people like to trim off their good stocks. There are people who trade in that kind of psychology. They say, oh, these are my winning stocks, I'm going to take profit. And then these are the ones that are losing. If I sell, I'm realizing my loss. A lot of people do that. They do not want to realize their loss, but they want to realize their profit. I tend to do it in a different way. I would like to cut away the weak stocks and I'll move it to the stronger stocks. Because at the end, if you're talking about like a plant, like a nursery, you want the good plants that keeps bearing fruits, and you don't want the plants that have diseases and have cancer and is really going to infect the rest of your portfolio. So I know exactly which are the ones that I need to watch out. Not so much the good ones, but the bad ones, because once a news comes out and that stock is no longer useful, just trim it off. Okay, just trim it off. Because you have to do what's right. So my tip number 11 is exactly that. If a counter suddenly posts bad earnings, even it's a counter that you just bought 2 hours ago, if it suddenly some bad news come out and you feel like a sucker selling it because I just bought it 2 hours ago, a lot of people psychologically don't like to admit that they made a mistake. So they just, let's hang on and see how. Okay, the millennials call it coping, or the Gen Z, they call this word coping. Okay, so you do some kind of self-talk to comfort yourself. No, maybe it's not a wrong mistake, maybe it's not a mistake, maybe I just hang it on. Well, if a counter has no longer a potential, why do you want to wait for a long drawn recovery? Why don't you just want to get out immediately and then redeploy the resources that can make more money? Okay, so let me give you some example. Like if you are into, say, airline stocks or tourism stocks just before the COVID, and if suddenly the COVID hits and this lockdown and planes are not flying, why do you want to wait until the whole session, the whole thing pass? Okay, some people say, oh, maybe in 6 months it'll be over. Now it's almost 2 years, and the situation hasn't really got much better. Besides some vaccines and things like that, tourism has not even come close to its original days. So why would you want to continue to hold on to a certain kind of industry when if I shift it to other industries like online business and food delivery and things like that, wouldn't it be better? Okay, so you need to be able to understand that sometimes doing something painful like cutting off a stock that is no longer has good potential would be in the long run better off. So as I've written here, players who refuse to realize their losses will realize that it's not a good strategy to hold on and wait for the recovery forever, because paper loss is still loss. Let me tell you very carefully that if I sell, I lost. You already lost. On paper, you already lost. Okay, so tip number 12. The last thing you want to do is having this God complex. Now let's flip it the other way around. You start winning and now you think you got a Midas touch. You think you know everything you touch turns to gold. This is very prevalent in one of those little activities in Singapore. It's called prawn fishing. So people pay money, $15 for an hour, they go prawn fishing. And now the vendor puts in a king prawn with a little tag. If you catch the king prawn, you win a prize. So someone's going to win that king prawn eventually. And when he gets the king prawn, he thinks it's his skill. I'm telling you, it's mostly luck. But he thinks it's a skill, so he goes around telling everybody, now look, the way, you know why you didn't get the king prawn? It's because the way that you held the rod is wrong. You need to do the first flick and you do the second flick. Oh no, look, your bait is a wrong bait. You need to use a liver and whatever. So he gives him the bragging rights to go around and tell people that their methods are wrong. Okay, so if you have that kind of Midas touch because maybe you made some money and then suddenly you think you're the demigod of investment. You know, Warren Buffett also don't get it right all the time. He gets it right very often, and that's why he's very revered. So if you hear of someone who's making constant profit, go to that guy and ask him if you could learn a tip or two. If he has consistent profit through the years, he's got some things right. But if you find a one-hit wonder with very little track record, take everything with a pinch of salt. As the saying goes, in a bull market, everyone's a genius. So last year, people are bragging, you know, this is my first time in the stock market, I made 20% yearly returns, or I made 40% yearly return. You're supposed to, because if you gone in, and I'm talking about the year 2020, if you've gone in around April and by December, you have made 30 to 40% on a lot of counters. Okay, so this is what I want to share with you today, trading psychology. If you feel free to share this with your friends if you feel that there are a value in this podcast. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.